lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and back with me today, I have another awesome indie cartoonist. I got Mahdi Khene with me. We're here to talk comics, his work, and all that good stuff. Welcome to the show, dude.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. So, I always ask everybody first time on the show, like, how did you get your start in comic books as a fan? Like, what started that love and passion for the medium?
I mean, when I was, I guess like everybody, when I was a kid, I just started getting into it, but not in a big way. I'm Algerian originally, so there's also that whole French culture. And so I grew up reading a lot of French books, like Asterix and Obelix and Lucky Luke and like all these French bande dessinée, as they call them. And then after getting introduced to that, then I got introduced to, the Spider-Mans and all these things, and I just got obsessed. I was just kind of big Spider-Man kid, as you can see. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, but I just kept it going for a while.
And so in turn, like when did you decide you wanted to start making your own comic books? What kind of kicked that off for you?
So that's funny. Actually, I only started making comics a little less than a year ago. Beforehand, I was actually a musician. I was doing, I was kind of gigging, touring, doing all these things. And then COVID, like with everybody, the gigs went away. And I had all this pent up kind of energy. And I thought to myself, like, I hadn't drawn in a couple of years. I mean, like every day, like I used to when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So I figured I was, let me try to do something nice. And I was rewatching reruns of Smallville.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's like my comfort food. I don't know what it is.
I own the complete series. So.
Oh yeah, okay. Tom Welling's, he just lulls me into a state of relaxation. I don't know why. Anyway, I was rewatching the series for like the upteenth time, and then I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm just gonna I want to make a comic. I want to make a hero, and then I just sketched down an idea, and then went from there. And I just my attitude is just kind of go for it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't spend a lot of time. I kind of learned as I went, which caused, a lot of duds and a lot of like mistakes, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's only been like, a little less than a year.
But you've always been drawing though.
Yeah. I've been drawing since I was a kid.
Right.
But I fell out of practice because I was focusing on guitar and singing and songwriting and stuff like that. And so I painted a little bit, but nothing technical, it was just kind of for me, for fun. Hands were tiny, heads were huge. It didn't matter. I just kind of went for it that way. But anyway, I was always drawing. Yeah.
And who were some of the creators that were kind of inspirational for you? That you kind of.
So, growing up, I wasn't a big name guy. Like I didn't know anybody. It's actually only just recently in this last year with discovering like the kayfabe guys and all these things. I took that as like the encyclopedia, and so I started rediscovering all these names that, were in there, all these artists that I knew, but I didn't know who they were, like the John Romitas, and I didn't realize my favorite Spider-Man growing up was John Romita Jr. I just didn't know. I just read the books. I didn't look at the credits. I never did that. And then I learned about all these guys. So now I'm diving into all of them, Kirby, Ditko, the Romitas, recently, because I saw that janky trailer for the She-Hulk, I've been diving into the John Byrne. You've seen it, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
You've seen it, yes. I think we've all seen it.
Yeah. No, that's a good run. I had never read the John Byrne. I mean, me too. From the channel, right. And I've been reading comic books since I was at least 5. I'll say 5. Right. So that's about 30 years. I'm 35, so I've never stopped. I may have little gaps of where maybe I wasn't getting the new stuff, but I was always reading. Right. But yeah, I'm rediscovering stuff too. Like the John Byrne She-Hulk, for example, is something I had always like known about, but never read. And then I knew the show was coming out, so I'm like, fuck, I gotta get it before. I don't want to pay those prices for that book. Like that's ridiculous. So yeah, I think that. So you weren't even consistently reading then this whole time. Did you have like little gaps?
I was. Every now and again, I get into. I was a big DBZ kid, Okay. So I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z, and then I also got the manga, got the books and everything. But no, I was always reading here and there comics, but it's true in my adult life, it kind of like waned away. I kind of lost the lust for it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't seeking them out as much, just because my focus had shifted, you know, from art to music. And so,
right. So you're, you know, COVID's here. You're trying to find an outlet for your creativity, and you decide to do your superhero comics, right? So how do you go about that? Can you talk a little bit about the comic books, like how, like, you get them printed? You even do, like, you know, it's not your normal comic book size. I don't have I guess I can hold it up to this, I guess, to show like the difference in size, right? Like it's a different type of format. Where did and each one that you sent me, like, it's not the same characters, right? Like it's all within this world, but they're all singular in terms of like the content.
Exactly. Yeah, they're all one shots. So okay, how it started, let me see if I have it. So I did so I started in like I said, July of last year. I just sketched an idea, and it was a very short idea, a very quickly jotted down idea of this guy. So I want to do a superhero comic, but I was like, I'm gonna call it Zuperhero because I wanted him to be kind of weird, and he had a lisp at the beginning. He couldn't pronounce the S's, you know, everything would be a Z. Tried that out, and I was like, oh, maybe not. That kind of reads weird, you know. But I just kind of dove in, and I created this first issue in the standard comic book size, kind of the first one.
Okay.
But if you look at the interior, you know, it's just not there. You know, I'm not even want to show it. It's just not there. But I got them printed by this company, Kablam, you guys know?
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, so I got a few copies made, and I started just distributing them to people, you know, all over. I even went to comic shops. I was gung-ho, so I was just kind of like, I made a first issue, super excited, let me just go for it. And then I would start to get little feedbacks or like unenthusiasms about it, like, oh yeah, it's cool, or what are they? And I'm just like, oh, it's not good enough. And so I reformatted it, and I went to this format right here, which was a bigger version, but then I rechanged the story and did it like a black and white, different types of art and stuff like that. And then what I did, I went to New York Comic Con as like a guest with this version, and I was there for the day, and I was kind of walking around looking at everything, and I talked to some cool community. I actually gave a copy of this to John Romita Jr., which was super, you know, like it was cathartic. You know, I had a weird moment where I went up to him, and he's from New York too, so he's just kind of like. I was there, it's like, hey, excuse me, Mr. I became an Italian mobster for some reason. I was like, hey, Mr. Romita, I want to give you something. You know, and he was just, oh, and then we did a lot of, hey, back and forth. And I gave him one of these. He was sketching a Daredevil, so he put it to the side, and I went off and I just snapped a little picture of it, you know, to be like, hey, look, man. But anyway, I went around and I talked to a few cool creators, you know, Jim Mahfood.
I love Jim Mahfood, yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. We talked for a little while, and he was showing me I showed him my comic, and we talked shop and everything. And then I went home and I just kept writing, and I did another issue, and I was just kind of like, this is great. But then it didn't feel good enough, you know. Then I went to another comic shop. No, what happened was I got a bunch of these printed, and I went to comic shops to drop them off, and none of them sold. You know, they weren't attractive to people, you know, like they were on the rack like this, but the cover was weird. Like it didn't sell. And I went to a cool comic shop in Brooklyn, and the guy was telling me, I was like, yo, can I have some advice about comic book making? And he told me, he's like, I tell every indie creator, if you're going to make something, do a noir book, you know, do a horror book, do a manga, like do whatever, do all sorts of different things, because you never know what might stick, and you never know what you might like. And I took that idea and I went home and I was like, you know what? I got to reinvent the whole thing. And so then I came up with a concept that is now Zuperhero Comics Presents, where every issue is a different kind of genre. So there's this one, which is like my ode to like kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles era.
Yeah.
And then I have this one's my noir comic. You know, this one I did is a horror comic. This one is a manga.
Okay, so that's the only one I haven't checked out. So I have the first three. Yeah.
But I have this one. This is my
fifth. Okay, comic. You got a fifth one. Damn, dude.
Then I got a mini comic right here, Skinny Fat.
Nice.
And so I decided, and then it kind of birthed this concept where I was just gonna do one shots, you know, one and done. What is it? Every comic is someone's first comic, something like Jim Shooter rules. And I thought to myself, you know, let me just keep going with this. And it's been working. And then I went back to comic shops, and then people were actually buying them. The covers, I guess, were more attractive. You know, the concept was like, I wanted it to seem like it was on the stands and on the racks with the old Marvel stuff from back in the day. So like, that's why every issue has a different, you know, this one's 10 cents from 1952. This one's 35 cents from 1965, you know?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to create this crazy timeline where Zuperhero Comics Presents was the label, and they were coming out with all these series, you know? But in reality, Zuperhero Comics Presents is the name of the comic, and then each issue is the subtitle. But yeah, but that's how it's been. And then I have, another issue on the way. It's been a great comics like journey doing all this.
Yeah, I definitely think that the cover design, if you showed me the first one, it definitely doesn't stand out as much as like, you know, you put it next to this. I think that your cover design is really,
bro, look at this.
And you do this all by yourself, right? You're doing all the cover design.
Everything, yeah. It's one man show.
And this is I'm just curious because I see a bunch of like art on your wall. I'm not sure if I'm assuming that's your stuff, right? So
yeah,
you draw traditionally?
I do.
Nice.
Look, both. I first, ink and paper. Those are all up there. That's actually all these. That's this issue.
Okay.
I was just doing them, and then I like to post them up, just to have them around, you know, just to kind of feel so I can look back. Because I like, if I do something cool on that one, I want to kind of keep it up to look at it again. You know, that's just the painting. Those little figurines I made of my character. That's like some prints I got. That's a Spider-Man like cover. That's not me.
Okay.
That's just a cool Spider-Man thing.
Nice. So do you plan on like revisiting any of these specific ones, or are you just gonna keep doing one shots? Because like I don't know, me, I love like noir, right? So like the black and red really stood out to me. I like all the books, but the black and red was the one that kind of like I connected with. Do you plan on, is this all gonna be one shots, or what are your plans next for the characters you're creating?
The way I live my life is that I don't think very much. You know, I didn't think this through, honestly. Like the noir story, my idea was that if I don't know what's gonna happen, the reader definitely won't know what's gonna happen. And so for me, the detective, I just wrote it as if I was doing it panel by panel. I was like, oh yeah, what would I do if I was a detective in this case? And then he just kept going and really was in the dark. And then at the end, I had to tie it all in together. So that was the thing. But I mean, I am bringing back some characters. There's a horror comic where the next issue I'm working on, this character comes back because it's like the continuity of that. In the manga, it takes place a couple months after this one. So, you know, there's a small continuation. You can see they're both in there.
Oh yeah, I see it, yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be some connection. They're all called different things, but the detective might come back, you know, stuff like that. There's characters from the noir one that come back in the horror comic. So it's kind of all connected. And then the idea eventually is to have it all, the series kind of wrap up after, I don't know how many issues, and then it's all going to be all connected into this origin of, you know, this guy, Z, all these things.
So what are I mean, I know you said you don't really think about stuff, you know, but like, what are the goals? You know, like, do you have any kind of goals with this? Like you went from doing music. I mean, I'm assuming it's not like you gave up on that, but like now you've found this other outlet for your creativity. So is this something that you want to just keep on doing? Is this something that you have some sort of an end game for, not end game, but like some sort of a goal that you want to attain?
World domination it's like
it's a lot.
Bring the world to its knees, Brian. No. I mean, I want to live from art. You know, I want to be able to keep doing what I've been doing. You know, do I want to see this turn into a series, a show? Of course, a movie. Yeah, 100%. Bring it on. I want to make soundtracks for it. I want to create a whole. I want to create a whole universe. So I want other people to interpret it yeah, you know, I want to, you know, all those things would be amazing. I want people to read them. I want people to identify with the characters. I want people to get excited about the next issues and stuff. But ideally, yeah, the idea is just to be able to make art. That's really, these things are all just vehicles to kind of drive your dreams and passions and stuff like that. And the way I created this kind of label, you know, it's not going to be this comic forever. When I'm done, I'm going to, you know, it's going to be under the Zuperhero Comics label, like Marvel Comics group or whatever. But I'll be doing all sorts of stories. You know, I got a few commissions to do be part of an anthology. So it's like it's slowly building, you know, which is a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Awesome. But the goal is just kind of, yeah, just keep going. I'd be doing it if it sold 1 or 1 million, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And what is so like as a self-published creator, like you're doing this all yourself. Are you like funding them completely? Like what type of print runs are you doing? Like what are the best outlets for you to sell? I know you said you did New York Comic Con. I know cons are making a bit of, you know, they've ramped up way more than they were when they first came back. You know, getting into shops. What are the best avenues for you in terms of selling yourself?
Right. Well, I mean, I do have a full-time job. You know, I work. So I fund my projects. You know, I thought about Kickstarter and all these things, but I'm just very impatient, and so I didn't want to wait. And so in music, I usually did all the things myself. Like I played all the instruments and made my records, and then I would go out and tour with my friends, and then we would learn the songs and whatever. So I kind of took that same mentality, but with comics, where I was kind of like, okay, I understand that in the comics world, you need a penciler, inker, letterer, editor, colorist, you know, publisher. There's a lot of hats, you know. But I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna do it all and see what's good. I found this great printer outside of Philly called Fireball Prints, and they do a great job. They were the only ones who didn't give me a fuss with formatting because I didn't want the traditional format. The rectangle was kind of, every time I drew a page, I found myself just elongating things to fill up the room. You know, I was just kind of like, it's almost like a manga size, you know.
Yeah.
Similar to that, which, you know, because I like the small pocket. I wanted it to be, you know, easily, you know, readable or whatever. But I just want to do it. So they didn't give me any formatting issues. Literally, what I saw on my screen and what I sent them is what I got back every time, and it's always quick and easy and not too expensive either. Whereas all the other ones, the comic book places, I kept trying to send them pages, but they kept saying it'd be like, you need full bleed, you need trim. I'm like, I don't understand these words. Can you just do it, please? You know. And then, you know, obviously you learn what they mean, and then you try to figure that out. But yeah, but these guys. So I just doing it all myself. And as far as where to go, avenue, it's just kind of the hustle. You know, I live in New York, so it's just sort of like, you know, you got to just keep bouncing off everywhere. Luckily, there's comic shops around here. So I just went to every comic shop, not every comic shop, but comic shops around in Manhattan and Brooklyn. And I dropped off books. And then I would come back and then see if they sold. And if they did, I'd restock, you know, I'd build relationships with people. And then I started doing, I went to my first Comic-Con, which is called the Brooklyn Independent Comics Showcase, which is cool. And I was surprised at how many I sold, you know, in terms of books. People bought some prints, and that really motivated me. And then a guy that was there that I talked to, unbeknownst to me, he ran another Comic-Con in Long Island called Eternal Con, which is a little bigger. So I got invited to that. And then I got motivated. So I was like, let me look up another one. And then there's a Brooklyn Comic-Con coming up in June, like in 2 weeks. And so I got accepted for that. And I was just kind of like, okay, maybe there's something. Like maybe people are finding something good. So I'm just going to keep doing Comic-Cons and then, you know, mingle, see what's good, and just keep kind of the energy going, you know, even though sometimes you're just kind of tired, you don't want to do it, but you just gotta do it, I think. I think there's no amount of hard work that won't be rewarded if it's okay. You know, if I gone with this, man, wouldn't have worked. But I think when you have an okay product, you think about it, you believe in it, then you feel, you know, that sometimes people will be motivated by it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said, I really dug your stuff. I think it's the packaging is really nice. The paper, it's not like a super glossy paper, but
Yeah,
it's not like a completely matte either. You know, like I really like the way you did it, and the coloring is great. The lettering is great. I mean, you just put together a really nice package. Each one stands on its own. I like that you've decided. I was wondering that too, because like I cracked them open. I'm like, wait, they're not like there's no like issue number, like there's no order.
yeah,
Like you can
yeah.
read, you can pick up any comic that you've done
Right.
and get like the full package. You know what I mean? I think that
Yeah.
that's a very smart way to go. And like you never know what genre is going to like appeal to somebody, so you're appealing to so many different types of readers. You know?
Yeah. Thanks. And also because I don't have a following, yet.
Yeah. I mean, are you noticing though? I mean, so you're in shops, right? Are you noticing like that you are starting to build some type of a readership? Like, are there like customers that are coming and like, and anytime you drop a new book, like they are picking your stuff up?
Yeah, they're shy about it, so I don't hear it. You know what I mean? But when I go back,
They're
I
gone.
notice the books are gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, okay, either they're stealing them or they're lining them. I don't know, lining the cages with them. But yeah, I mean, little by little, like on social media, on the great forums, the Ringside community, like I create comic books, all these great Facebook groups. I got a few people that are just kind of motivated by what I'm doing, and we get little relationships with that. And people have bought books. Like I sold, I send books every now and again. Uh, so I mean, I can see it growing a little bit for sure. It's definitely at the infantile stages, but after every like con that I do, it grows a little bit more. A little bit more, a little bit more. And also, you never know who might pick up your book, right? And all it takes is, was it Todd McFarlane always says, dumb luck, dumb luck. So it's just, you don't know. So you just think to yourself, we'll see. And then along the line, you meet some really cool artists and people that are in the industry, people that are not. And it's great to know. I've met a bunch of cool creators that work for DC and Marvel that I have relationships with. I'm not asking for the job, but I'm just kind of like, you get to know them, you get to know the inside out. You kind of immerse yourself in this world, and it like you surround yourself by what you love, and then it feels good and it drives you. But yeah, no, as far as the paper, is there a lot of noise? This is
You're good. You're
okay.
good. Yeah.
I just hear like drilling. I don't hear it anymore. But I was like, wait a second, maybe there's something going
No,
on.
I mean I constantly have noise too where I'm at. So
Oh,
sometimes you just gotta go with it.
you just tune it out.
Yeah. I just tune it out.
I got my neighbors that do karaoke every Saturday night.
Fuck, that would drive me nuts.
It's they do wonderful Spanish ballads, and guys who are clearly heartbroken that just cannot sing. They're like, baby, it's really great. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the formatting, for example. I'm not a fan of comic book um, uh, feeling, the feeling of the books. I like the old, the newsprint and stuff like that, but the modern,
I'm the same way. Yeah.
the same way. The modern ones, for example, Jim Ruggs' whole grand design.
Yeah.
I bought that. I bought it online. I read it on it's a PDF. Yeah, I got what's the thing? Comixology.
Yeah.
I got it on there, and it was a great experience, because I had the screen up to here, and I was zooming into everything, and I was reading, and I thought to myself, I'm like, let me get the book because I want the actual object, And then I went to the store, and I touched it, but I didn't feel the same thing, just because you get what I'm saying. I can tell by your smile you agree with me, but
I totally agree with you. I know it's frustrating because you're talking about like the grand design stuff, and it's like you have to wait for the Treasury edition to get the good paper, and it's so annoying. It's like, why don't you just put it in the single issues also? I don't know. I don't like the super. That's why I won't read reprints. If it's the only way I can get it, I'll get it that way. Like if I can't afford it because they're so old and they're so valuable. But when they reprint old comic books on that really bright white paper and it's super glossy, it doesn't look the way that the creators even intended it, because they were coloring it for newsprint. right off the bat. So the coloring is going to look stupid. Then it's
Right.
super bright to what
Right.
the point where like it hurts my eyes.
For sure.
Yeah.
It loses its charm.
Yeah.
And especially like a project like the whole Grand Design, where he took a lot. If you see it on the internet, why do I speak like I'm 80? If you see it on the internet, then you'll get. It's like if you see it on the screen, he took a lot of care into the paper grains and the retro effects and all these things, which I felt was just kind of lost a little bit on the physical thing. And also the ads. I wish that they didn't have ads, or at least that the ads were cool.
Yeah, or I mean, do what Image. I mean, I know Image is different because it's creator owned, but like they put all their ads at the back. So they will promote other Image titles, right? That aren't even by the same creators, but everything's at the end. So like, I think that, but I feel like it's different with like a DC and Marvel because they get like, I don't want to say sponsors, right? But people are paying for the ads. If you put them at the end, we're just going to skip it. We're just going to like put the book away at the end of the book. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to look at it. So they have to, but yes, it does take away from the story. But I feel like that's never going to go away. But the ads suck nowadays too. So they're not as cool as like they were in like the 60s, 70s.
It's just like this weird Rolex ad in the middle of the thing. You're just kind of
random as fuck. Yeah.
Reading a comic book, man. I don't want a Rolex. What do you mean? Like I'm trying to. Anyway, yeah. So with the formatting, that's why I don't want ads. I want to keep it that way. I like the paper. I want it to be an artifact. That's why I did it that way with the paper and everything.
Right on. And then in terms of other stuff, you said that you're working on an anthology. What other? Do you have any other projects you're part of? I mean, you're part of the Ringside Seats group, right? Like, they're always doing something. I mean, Wizard 2 just came out.
I saw, that was awesome.
That was pretty cool. I know that they've always got projects in the work. I mean, they did Image Grand Design, Image Grand Disaster, Darkest Image 1. Number 2 is about to come out. They have all, the Weapon X project, the Batman Year What. Like, there's so many different things going. So, are you a part of any of that stuff?
I'm not. I honestly, the thing I'm working on, the anthology I did is some guy messaged me on Facebook, and then he was like, "Hey, I like your style. Do you mind doing this?" And I said, "Yeah." I don't know if I can talk about it yet, but that was that job that I did, which is cool. But I mean, honestly, the thing is, I'm so, because I work. So this is my day. It's like you wake up, you go to your job, and then you come home and you do your actual job, which is being an artist. And then you keep going, and you eat, and then you go, and then you sleep, and then you do it all again. And so most of the time, I'm doing pages, and I tend to work fast-ish, I guess, maybe a page or two a day, if I can manage, like all finished and everything. So it just takes up a lot of my time. So I have rarely the chance to peruse the kind of the forums and be involved in these projects. But for the Wizard thing, I did send in a little thing to be part of the next one, because I just think it's just a great magazine.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I helped edit the first one because Eli, who runs Cosmic Lion, I met him through my local comic shop because I was working there almost full time. Now I'm there like 1 day a week. But so I made sure I'm like, I need something in the second one. So I did an article, I did an interview, and that article just kind of is turning into me doing my own zine and book.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked. It's all about hip hop. So it's gonna have like articles, interviews, and comic books.
That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the community is just it is the most positive group I've ever been a part of in terms of comic books, and there's so much negativity with the comic books like online, and this doesn't have that, and I think it's so cool all the projects that come from it. You definitely should. I mean, your stuff's really dope. I definitely think you should get in on some of these projects also, for sure.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna try. And I can say the comic book community is one of the most inviting communities I've ever been a part of, because as a musician, my genre of music was kind of like bluesy rock. It wasn't very mainstream. Think Bob Dylan and J.J. Cale had a baby that was raised by Muddy Waters. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, okay, not for everybody. So I was doing all the gigs, all the the late night, these midnight shows. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's just grueling, and you're there, your fingers are bleeding, and you're singing, and you're tired. And you do all that, you love it, so you do it. It's great. And you put out new music, but music is such a commitment to a lot of people. And also it's almost become like an inalienable right where it has to be free, or stuff like that. And people will just kind of, the community in music it's not as open as comic book lovers, Whereas one comic book guy or gal, whatever, will like so many different genres and so many different types of things. They'll just go for, they'll be like, yeah, this is good. I like it. It's like, yeah, but it's not at all what you like. Nah, it's good. I like it. It's just a great, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of haters and negativity out there, but I did one thing one time on a forum where I put a picture of the sketch of Shovel Man, this guy. I put like a mock-up of something. And then the first comment was this dude that was like, yeah, this is not good, whatever. It's like, it sucks. And I read, I was just kind of like, well, all right. If you think it sucks, it sucks. It's not a big deal, But then he got eaten alive in the comments. People were insulting him. And there was like 100 or something comments of this guy just getting mangled. They were like, no, it's good. And at the end, he wrote back again saying, no, it's pretty good, but he like completely changed his thing. Yeah. It was kind of like a passionate group of people. Yeah,
dude. I mean, comic books. Yeah, the fandom it can go south real quick, but it is the best. I think the best group of fandom that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And then so before I let you go, I kind of curious. Like what comic books are you reading and that you're into right now? Like what creators are you following?
So I kind of been diving backward into into a thing. So I just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I started rereading those, which was hilarious. The all the John Romita's and Ditko Spider-Man. I follow this cool artist, Jonathan Marcus. Yeah, he does what is it? Yeah. Jonathan Marks Baravecchia, this guy right here.
Okay. Yeah,
he's a great painter artist, and he does wonderful things. Yeah, and he works huge. I met him at one of the Comic Cons, well, through Instagram, but he's a great artist, and I've been kind of diving into his work a little bit. But mostly, I tend to just keep it. I focused a lot on my own thing, on the whole superhero comics universe, and like John Byrne, I'm reading all the She-Hulks, which is hilarious. Yeah, but I'm just kind of, you find yourself not a lot of time, but also I like to keep the kind of the echo chamber going of the universe I'm building to not lose the feel,
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Then I'll lose myself in trying to copy or compare. Or it's like if I listen to too much Bob Dylan, I want to sing and write like Bob Dylan, but I'm just kind of like, well, then I'm just another Bob Dylan. It's like, that makes no sense,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just kind of like to keep it with myself.
Right on. Well, dude, I wanna thank you for sending me those comics. I really dug them. I got to get those other 3. I think you showed me 3 more that came out. And it's been a blast, dude, talking to you about your stuff. And for everybody listening and watching that want to pick up your stuff, where can they find you online? Where can they pick up the books? And I'll share those links down below.
Yeah, Zuperherocomics.com is my website. You can find me on Instagram at Mahdi Khene, MAHDIKHENE, and at Zuperhero Comics. And there you'll find all the info you need.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, yeah, of course, dude. Had a blast. And everybody go pick up those Zuperhero comics because they are really fucking dope. And Mahdi, I definitely want to do this with you again in the future if you're up for it.
Anytime. All right, cool, bro.